Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. I have my Not Today Satan mug and my Resand hoodie. Today's video is going to be my August reading wrap-up. I can't believe I'm doing another reading wrap-up right now, but let's just go. The first book that I finished in August was How to Lose a Lord in 10 Days by Sophie Irwin. If you've been around here for a while, you know that I really like Sophie Irwin. I read her first two books and loved them, and this one I also really liked. She's a Regency romance author, but she does a lot of kind of like feministic, but also just like really fun and funny and interesting dynamics. I really love her books, and this one was also super fun. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting it to be, but I really liked it. Also, from the synopsis, it went differently than I thought it was going to. Basically, two main characters, and he proposes to her. He's like a super eligible bachelor. Everybody wants him, but he's not interested in anybody, but he finds he's interested in her. And so he proposes, and just because of series of events and social norms, she accepts, but she doesn't want to accept because she thinks they don't like each other. And she also has this like dream of marrying for love, and she doesn't think he's the one. And they barely know each other, you know. But she accepts because she doesn't know what else to do. She wants him to jilt her, so she wants him to reject her and call off the marriage because she can't. And she has 10 days to do so because they're announcing the engagement in 10 days. So much fun. Like I said, this went a little differently than I thought it was going to go from the synopsis, but it was really fun. I loved the banter, the way they have like a war with each other and they do silly things to each other and with each other and to like embarrass one another. It was good. But I will say the first third of the book, I wasn't sure how I was going to like it because there's so many awkward and cringy things that the female main character does to try to get jilted that you're just like, ooh, it's really uncomfortable. So if you have secondhand embarrassment, be warned. Like, it was hitting me a little bit. It's brutal. But once it came to light and their bickering and dislike came about, it was fun. I liked that a lot of it had the idea of dealing with trauma affecting your choices as well, and how you go about things and why you interact the way you do with certain things. I think she brought that into the story and handled it really well. And I will continue to read anything Sophie Irwin writes. This was like a first printing edition, UK edition, but I was holding out for an Illumicrate edition to match my others, but I have yet to see it, so we'll see if it comes about. But 4.5 stars, really loved it. And then I read First Time Caller by BK Borison. This is a recommendation from my friend Kate, and I really loved this one too. It was really good. I was kind of surprised how much I liked it, but I did like the first book I read by BK Borison. But this is book one in Heartstrings, and you're following a radio host. They live in Baltimore, and he does a romance hotline. And one day the female main character's daughter calls in because she wants her mom to find somebody and get a date. And it turns into this like whole shenanigan where it goes viral. And so he invites the female main character onto the show, the mom, onto the show to find her a date. Very fun story. It was super cute. I loved it. I liked the radio show aspects a lot. I listened to the audiobook and they bring in those elements with like the sound and different stuff. I love that. Very immersive. The audiobook really made that come alive. I enjoyed both of the main characters a lot also. I feel like sometimes I will like one more than the other, or like I really like the male main character or something and then the other one's just kind of flops. They were both really good characters. I liked them both a lot. I liked that Lou, the female main character, was a mechanic. I liked that dynamic with her and then Aiden as the radio host. That was cool. And the dynamics with all of the characters were precious and funny and fun. I feel like even the side characters that you like don't really know. You like know their name, they're mentioned briefly, not in the book much at all, but you still liked them. You still cared about them. Like, she wrote the characters in this so well because everybody, you're just like, ooh, I like them. I enjoyed that you get the perspectives of Lou and Aiden in this book, the two main characters. I liked Aiden's thoughts and the way he reacted to Lou. It was hilarious, it was adorable, it was fun, but I also appreciated the way that Aiden had to really deal with his past trauma and kind of bring a lot of things to light. I enjoyed that as well. Character growth. We love it. 5 stars. And then I read Accomplice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. So here's the deal. I thought this was a trilogy. 100% thought it was a trilogy. It's not. The series is still going. I'm pretty sure I was told that at some point. and it changed, but I missed it. But it's not a trilogy. I was very upset about that, but I can't tell you a lot about that because it's the third book in the series, and you've heard me talk about the first ones. But it got to the book's end so suddenly, and I was scared, and I realized it cannot be the last book. And then I was like, oh no. So it turns out it's not. I feel a little bit deceived about that, which is probably partially or all of my fault, but I'm also glad because things were not tied together, not tied up, not figured out. And so I was like, how could there be like 10 minutes of the audiobook left? Okay, sorry. So the story is continuing. I liked the twists and turns in this one and the progression of the relationships, but I also feel like we could have done a lot more with this book and maybe cut out some of the relationship development of the other characters and maybe made it a trilogy, but maybe she just felt like she had too much to say. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I can't wait for the next book, but also now spiraling because I have to wait for another edition, another sequel. 4 stars. And then I read this beauty and immediately went out and bought myself a copy. That is Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen. How is this book so good? 5-star read. I'm obsessed. It's so good. So good. I almost didn't read it. I picked it up on a whim. Oh my gosh. If you like the wand magic and the intricate spells of Harry Potter, like the world of Harry Potter, betrayal, morally gray characters, people having to make bad choices for things that they think are right, what they think is right, and detective stories, this is the book for you. It was amazing. The characters are complicated and flawed. There's so much to pull at your emotions, and you wonder how everything will continue and unfold. And let me stop with my gushing to tell you the synopsis. Yes, okay, I'm just going to read you this little bit because I don't want to spoil anything. So it says, it's a series set in a world where magic is fueled by pleasure and pain. An obsessive detective infiltrates a brutal gang of dark mages, knowing that one wrong move will get her killed. So the main character wants to be a detective. She's sent undercover to take down this gang of dark mages. But she has to be accepted into the mages and completely have her cover like sealed tight or she'll be done for. And there's magic. I need to do a book review on this so I can like gush and talk more about the world. But my emotions were very wrapped up and I was screaming. I was invested when things were happening. I'd be like, oh no! So that's how I know like I really love a book. The magic system is amazing. And the lore is also really cool. And I hope that it will even expand more on the lore and the world in future books because this is a series. It's book 1 in the Silver Cloak saga. World building is good, so good. The underbelly crime of the city is also really interesting. I can't wait to continue. I'm so mad I have to wait, and I love Levin. I love him. This is like a precious artifact to me now. It's so good. Everyone, please read it. I'll do a book review. That way I can gush more and talk more about it. The plots and whatnot. And then I read Well Actually by Maisie Eddings. This one was also really fun and funny. This is kind of like a take on Chicken Shop Date. So the main character runs this show called this like video, I think it's a podcast, but it's a video series on YouTube essentially. And it's called Sausage Talk. And she invites like bachelors on there and she like plays a bit and goes on this date with them, kind of like pseudo date, like interview, like Chicken Shop Date. So it was actually really funny. The book was really funny. I really liked the character dynamics of the two main characters and how they jab at each other. Oh, so that's the premise of the, like, her setup. But she dated this, like, player in college. This, like, F-boy in college. And was heartbroken by him, destroyed. And he starts a TikTok account of being, like, a gentleman and showing men how to treat women and being, like, very pro that. And she comments like, this is a joke. This was the guy that like treated me horribly. And she goes viral for that. And because of that, her producers make her bring him on the show to do these dates with him. Fun. So I really like the character dynamics and how they kind of jab at each other and the humor of that. The premise was fun. I think if anything, I wish it had been a little bit more slow burn because, you know, this is like a romance. But I also liked the dealing with past mistakes and traumas and understanding that your past does affect you, whether you want it to or not, it does. They dealt with those really well, and I liked that it wasn't glossed over. I liked that it wasn't just magically fixed, but it was like hard and they had to deal with it. And how your past does affect the way you interact with the world, and that you have to own it, deal with it, and grow. So if all of those things sound good, give it a shot. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. This is book 1 in Devil's Night. So essentially, there's a girl who is dating this boy, and his older brother is in this like basketball team, but they're also this like secret underground society / gang at this university. And they think that she released some footage, like gave some evidence to police to put all of his friends in prison except for him, or in jail or whatever. And they get out and they want to come after her and make her life miserable and like torture her. So yeah, that's the premise. This was an easy read. It was a very easy, quick read. But I didn't like how it unfolded. It felt like the characters were acting so stupid. I didn't love the whole unraveling of the premise, how it like played out. One of my best friend has read this series, and I've heard from her that the other books in the series are better than the first one. Like, they're actually good. So I think I will continue the series, but wasn't the biggest fan of this one. And also, the epilogue is sick. Like, what? Why would you write that? Why would you write that, ma'am? I'm concerned for you. The author needs to explain that immediately, because I was mad. 2 stars. And then I ended up finishing a series that I've been trying to finish for a long time, and I finally just did it. I finished A Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir. This is book 3 in the Ember and the Ashes quartet. So I gave this one 3.5 stars. The Ember and the Ashes series, I can't tell you what this one's about because it's the 3rd book, but it's like a Roman society, a slave infiltrates it she infiltrates as a slave, as a spy for the rebellion, and then there's like an emperor soldier person that they end up meeting and kind of caring for each other and realizing that maybe the empire is corrupt and they need to take it down. Okay, so this book felt like it had a lot of filler. Things are happening, and I really liked the development of Helene and Harper's characters, but it just felt like it was building hopelessness the whole time. And that feels more like a book 2 situation, right? So like, why would we just be building a ton of hopeless situations until it all comes together in the last book? I feel like there should be more going on. I don't know. That's what it was doing, and it was hard for me to keep track of everything from book 2 to this one, which is my fault for taking so long in between to read them, but usually that's not a problem for me. This world is just a little bit more intricate and has a lot more lore and creatures, so it's a good thing. It's not the author's fault. That's on me for sure. But overall, it was still a really easy and enjoyable read. I love Helene. Elias's story this time is just kind of sad and feels kind of pointless and hopeless and like, what are we doing here? So I didn't love that. But then we go right into the 4th and final book, which is A Sky Beyond the Storm. I liked this book more than the 3rd. This book was good, better than that one. And I really liked the series as a whole. I think it's a great series. It's high fantasy, but YA, fantastic. It also doesn't pull a lot of punches. And I was upset at the end with how my favorite was handled and another character was handled. It's upsetting to me. It was unfair. But it is a really cool story and series, and I think if you've been sleeping on it, you should definitely pick it up. It's hyped for a reason, or at least it had a lot of big following for a reason. And now that I've finished the quartet, I'm curious to read Air, which is over here somewhere, which is in the same world, but it's following a different character. I feel like I can read that now, which is exciting. But yeah, really enjoyed the series. Glad I have copies of it. Upset at some of the character treatment. 4 stars. Well, those are all of the books that I finished in August. I would love to know what your favorite read of August was, if you want to leave it in a comment down below. Or if you don't have much to say but you want to leave a comment, leave me a leaf emoji for September. But that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye!